What's up? This is David Jermaine.
This is Sebastian O'Hara.
And this is Riley Evanko.
Hello, everyone. So this is a new film-style radio show that we're just kind of starting out today, actually. This is our first show. So we kind of just want to tell you a little bit about what the show is about before getting into it. This is first, the show is called Film Reel, but of course the name is still subject to change. We're still very much trying to find this show out as we're doing it. So I'm Sebastian O'Hara. I'm one of the hosts here. I'll go a little bit into my film experience. So I have done several. Well, first of all, I'm a freshman, so I'm very new to the film society here at Quinnipiac. I'm still very much trying to find myself here as a director, writer, editor. And I've been kind of getting into a lot of the clubs here. Before coming to Quinnipiac, I've had several, I have to say, very, very enlightening experiences in the film business. My first real job was working at this HBO show, which is coming out, I believe, in mid-April, I want to say, is coming out. I'm not allowed to really say a lot about it, but I'm very excited for you guys to all see it. I'll definitely give it a shout-out on later episodes. I worked on a PA assistant, also on a movie called The Greatest Showman. I know a lot of people know that movie. And a new movie starring Amy Adams that unfortunately is going through reshoots right now, so the release date is a little foggy. But it's called Rear View Window. I'm sorry, not Rear Window. That is Alfred Hitchcock. Rear Window. It's a really enticing thriller that I think everyone's going to like. Again, I'll go a little bit more into it when I'm allowed to say more about it on later episodes. So, yeah, that's pretty much a vague summary of my film experience. I'm really excited to see what else is open to me here at Quinnipiac. David, do you want to go into a little bit about what you've done in the film industry?
Yeah, so unfortunately I cannot say I've done quite as much, but
Same over here.
yeah, but I mean, I think I'm just like a very enthusiastic guy about movies in general. Right now I am currently about 70 pages into my script for a short film, or not a short film, a feature film.
Yeah, that
right?
sounds more like a feature film than
Yeah, I mean, I've been writing it for a while, but like I kind of took a break because I feel like I'm not quite there yet. Hopefully throughout Quinnipiac I will figure it out and then I will complete it and make it a movie. Yeah, how about you, Riley?
How about me? Ooh, probably about the same thing. I don't really have a lot going on for me. I just was like, oh, I love movies. I love watching movies. How can I turn that into a major? So that's basically...
Become a film major.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't like really anything else other than movies. So how can I make that a profession? Film major. That's a good title. That makes it sound like I'm not wasting my time with nothing.
Or money.
Yeah.
So I kind of just want to ask you guys a little bit, because this is also a question I have for, and I think it can be related to a lot of different majors in general. How do you guys get inspiration for the work that you do?
Well, for me personally, I just look back at what made me fall in love with movies in the first place. My favorite film is Jurassic Park.
Yeah, he has a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I know this is a radio show. You can't see it, but he has a Jurassic Park show on, not Jurassic Park shirt on right now.
Yeah.
Also got the phone case going on, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you have a phone case, too?
Yeah. Well, it's a wallpaper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just like things like that are really what make me so enthusiastic. And then when I write or create something, I want to emulate that experience for everyone else. And I think making a movie is all about looking at your audience and thinking about how you can make them the most immersed and enjoy what you're creating as much as possible. And I think that's really the key.
So it's kind of like trying to replicate like what made you fall in love with films in the first place.
Yeah.
I think really what first got me falling in love with it was, you know how you buy a DVD and it had that second disc that would say, the bonus features.
No, I can relate.
Yeah, nobody watched that disc ever. Anybody out there that has a DVD that they know has a bonus disc, be honest, have you ever picked up that DVD and watched it? No, you have not. But I just remember I think I watched it on like Pirates of the Caribbean bonus features. I don't know why Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, that's a great movie. I mean,
it is a good. First one, phenomenal movie.
First one's good.
But I watched the bonus features and like they were doing like all behind the set stuff. And I was like, this looks awesome. I want to do this. I want to be there. I want to do something with that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like really an inspirational thing, just in the basis of it just looked like something fun to do, and I really just want to create like some kind of art form. I'm into like, you know, like now I've come into more older, artsier films, something like that. So probably something around there I'd like to really try something at.
So mine is definitely a mixture of you guys.
Cool.
So I definitely say, for one, I'm definitely inspired by films I've seen in the past. I think the moment I really like fell in love with movies was when I just started getting chills in the theater, and like I could hear like audible gasps behind me in the movie theater. And I was like, I want to be the kind of person that can make that happen for other people. You know, I want to make that magic happen. Like actually get people to be scared, be sad, be happy, laugh.
Yeah.
Like it's just so much like power that comes with these films that you have the potential of creating. And also with Riley, definitely, I forget exactly which DVD, but it wasn't exactly a movie, I remember. I think it was actually like The Muppet Show, I remember. Like there was a bonus DVD for The Muppet Show behind the scenes, and I just loved how they worked with the cameras, and I was like, this is how this is actually created. Like it seems like something that anyone could do. While, yeah, it looks very complex, I feel like I could definitely like... It seems like something that is within my reach that I can definitely try to do myself.
I mean, I can agree with all of that. I mean, really, it's just, that's what most film majors want to shoot for, is we want to impact something. We want it to be something that invokes an emotion, invokes a good response. We want it to be like, oh, God, remember that movie? That was so good. Oh, my God. I want that. That's, I think, what most people want, right?
I completely agree about that.
Yeah.
So before we go into, because we have a lot to talk about, really, especially with the Oscars right around the corner, we have a lot to talk about there. Before going into that, I think we should definitely give a shout out to people that want to get into film, who you don't even have to be a film major to be involved in. And that would be, there are two really great clubs that I think you should definitely get into. I'll talk a little bit about Screenwriting Guild. It's definitely one of those fun clubs that are very... I wanted to make sure that when I came to a club that it wasn't like very serious. You know, like you could fail and they wouldn't, because we do go through some scripts that could use some work, and we don't like put them down or anything. We generally try to help them. And it's definitely a very like lax kind of club that I feel like it definitely tries to foster inspiration for your projects instead of trying to weaken them, you know? That's just as far as Screenwriting Guild. Do you guys want to talk about Film Society?
Yeah, a quick other note on Screenwriters Guild. I personally just have to say it's my favorite club at this school. I think it's really fun. You get to just have a lot of, like, creativity. It's, like, you're not restricted in any way. You can do as much as you want. And you just get, like, a lot of, like, it's not even hands-on because, like, you're not using cameras, but, like, it's hands-on in a different way that's even more meaningful to me. I don't know if people go to the club, by the way, so like if you're listening, please just check it out at least for one meeting and just see how it goes.
Definitely show up to that. I mean, they definitely need some more people to show up. There are really, really great people at that club, really passionate, very committed people, but, you know, you got to get more people out there, you know, because right now...
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I mean,
even if you like don't want to even like
just show up for one time.
Yeah, even if you don't want to write a screenplay, I'd say even just go there just for the experience, so that you know all the hard work that goes into making screenplays, and it's just really interesting.
Yeah, it's just fun. You get to like hear a lot of crazy stories people come up with. But
That's really the basis for going. If you're not big into like the screenwriting and all this and that, really you can just show up there and just listen to some of the funny stories that get told and back and forth, and you know, it's something to do. It's a fun little club with a lot of good people.
Yeah, I mean, for Film Society, they have a nice Sundance trip, which I unfortunately didn't go on this year, but hopefully I'll go on another year. And they do cool stuff like Movie Jeopardy and stuff, so that's cool.
Yeah, I think, and they also are very valuable in getting you outlets to be involved in other projects, because I forget exactly, but someone came in, who exactly was the one that said it, but someone came in and was just like, hey, we're filming in, I believe they said New Jersey, and they said if anyone wants to come down and get involved in any way, shape, or form, we're more than welcome to have you. And I think that's definitely also goes into another topic of tips I have for people trying to get into the film industry. It's all about the connections you make. It really, really just is about every connection you can possibly make to get, because some people aren't even good at it, you know? I know some people that are just not that good, and somehow they find jobs just because of the connections they make.
Exactly. You just got to take anything and everything you can get that you're given,
Right.
any opportunities. You know, if you don't want to do that, you still got to show up to those things. Just because that PA job on that nothing little project, you know, that's something you can put down on a piece of paper and say, I helped out with that. That makes me something better than you because I did something.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Film Society is just a really great way to just branch out and find other opportunities outside of school.
Many open forums.
And like even Quinnipiac Screenwriters Guild again, like you're adding to your resume, and like you can add so much to it, and you can just like figure out where you're good, you know, where your strengths and weaknesses are. And I think that all really just helps you in the long run.
That's basically every basis for the film
Yeah.
clubs. If you want to get into it somehow, some way, show up, you know, listen a little bit, share a little bit, enjoy, and, you know, just take in the experience and the knowledge, and, you know.
It's all about the connections. That's
That's
how I
all
got
it
my
is.
job so far. I just, my neighbor across the street is involved in transportation for all the actors and props and set builds. You know, he's just really involved in it, and he's pretty high up there. And I just know him because I think the first time I met him, I was like helping him like move a bench. And that's just how I know him, and that's the connection I made, and I couldn't be happier with everything that I've done so far. It's just all about the connections, and even if it's at a smaller scale, the Film Society can help you make those connections and get you those jobs that go on the resume, like you said. And as soon as those goes on the resume, you're better than the guy that didn't get that PA job.
True.
You know, as it's just all about getting the experience and making those connections. So I couldn't recommend Screenwriting Guild and Film Society more.
I completely agree.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I really am blanking on the name. I mean the times that these clubs are at. But I know
9:15 on Mondays for the screenwriters and 9:15
Yeah.
on Wednesdays for the QFS.
perfect. You
Society.
saved me there. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. So
Go to them enough,
where are
you
we
got
going
it.
to next, David?
Let's just talk about some Oscars.
Ooh,
Oscars are coming
Oscars.
on Sunday, for those of you who didn't know.
Got any ideas on noms and such?
I could already say my favorite movie of 2019. I don't know about you two, but for me it's Parasite. I think Parasite is phenomenal.
See, I still haven't seen that. Is that the foreign film?
It's Korean.
You see, I just saw like horror as the genre. I know it's not entirely horror, but as soon as I see horror in there, I get put off by it because unfortunately I'm not a big horror guy. I can't do it. Scariest movie I've ever seen is Coraline. I just can't. I
That
just
movie
can't do it.
terrified me as a kid. I'm not gonna lie.
No, but it's a great movie, and
is.
that's kind of like the peak of my the stomach I have for horror. I just can't do it. But definitely, I'd say some highlights that I could recommend seeing before we hear who wins the Oscars, which I think might actually win it, which might be a surprise to some people. But I'm going to say Knives Out, which is also a movie I'll
Knives Out's
recommend later.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's nominated. Is that
It's
not-
nominated for best screenplay, but
Oh,
not
well, okay.
anything
Not.
else.
Oh, I thought you meant.
Oh
best
no,
movie.
for Best Picture. When do movies are nominated for
I
Best
would
Picture?
think 1917.
It's 9 this
would-
year.
1917, I know, is definitely one.
That would be my best guess for the best motion picture of this year.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about it? Because I haven't seen it yet, unfortunately.
Wait, David, you know more, right?
I've seen 1917 3 times now.
Oh, okay, so you've definitely
We're
seen
gonna,
it.
we're gonna rely on David here for the little brief descripts on the film.
Yeah, so 1917 is basically about these two soldiers in World War One. They are tasked to basically prevent an attack from killing 1,600 men in a battlefield.
There's no pressure there.
Yeah, no pressure at all. But what's really great about the film, I mean, it's a very simple premise, but it's meant to look like one shot completely, even though it's not. And they do it phenomenally, which is why I think Sam Mendes will get a Best Director win. He's just phenomenal. Movie's great. Yeah, that's
Guess a recommendation from you?
yeah. I'd give it an A.
Do you have anything to add, Riley?
God, to 1917, I don't have a whole lot to add because that was one from quite a while ago that I saw, but I definitely do want to say the cinematography work is
Yeah, I was going to
phenomenal
say,
with its just continuous motion.
It's definitely a very ambitious goal to try to make everything one shot and make everything in real time, right?
It's pretty much all in real time, yeah.
Anybody out there that's seen the trailer for this film knows the ending shot where it's, he's running and he's running.
Yeah,
and that shot goes on for a long time, and there's a lot of stumbling. It was one take. It was a lot of effort put into that, and you can very much tell it.
Yeah, it's not one of those shots where you can just be like, okay, we just did that, let's do it again. It takes a long time to set one of those kind of shots up. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of effort, and a lot of creativity from everyone involved. If there's just one mistake of just like one guy is just like running in front of the camera, blocking the shot, or like trips up where he's not supposed to, the whole shot is ruined.
He did. He kept stumbling over guys.
He did? Oh.
I think it was intentional, but...
No, I think it was he was just running, and then a bunch of extras kind of just got in his way, knocked him over, but he just kept going. He kept going, and that's really... Like, little details like that is really what added to the craft. And also, aesthetically, it's a very pleasing film. You don't get a lot of World War I bases for film. You see a lot of World War II, you see a lot of Vietnam. You don't get a lot of World War I. And that's an era that should probably get a little bit more movies. I've seen a handful of things, but really most of those are just trench warfare. We're just going to sit here and we're just going to look very brooding and dramatic, and we're not going to do anything for, like, the whole movie.
Now, I'm just curious, how do you guys, because, again, I haven't seen the movie, so I'm just curious, how does this kind of compare to Saving Private Ryan? Because they're both war movies, but I'm sure they're very different in a lot of different ways. I just want to know.
I don't really know exactly how I'd put it. I mean, they definitely are different. I would put this more on the same line as, like, Dunkirk.
Yes, definitely.
It's Christopher Nolan,
Christopher Nolan's a god.
Dunkirk, we gotta talk to that at some point. I mean, God, love it. One of my favorites.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you like Dunkirk, see 1917, it's like Dunkirk, but with more human moments, without, like,
Think
it's
of
not
it
action.
as this movie, 1917, is more on a dramatic kind of low-key silent basis, whereas, something like Save Private Ryan, it's more people-based. It's more just the characters interacting with each other, the banter, the running into this foe and that foe, as this one is more or less just the journey itself rather than the characters.
Very true.
And I always...
you have anything else to add?
No. Should we tap on other Oscars?
I also was just about to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by the director Quentin Tarantino, who also wrote it and has been nominated for a lot of awards because of it.
Much, yeah.
And also Brad Pitt for Best Supporting Actor. I won't get into it, but I'm a little... We'll get into that in a
Best
bit.
Supporting Actor.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
No,
All right,
because
we'll get
Willem
into
Dafoe,
that.
I
We'll
think,
get into
definitely
that.
deserved at least a nomination. But we'll get into that in a second. But I would like to talk about a little bit about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because you guys have all seen it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about how it compares to Tarantino's previous films. Because, actually, it's kind of weird that we're mentioning it right now, because I just remembered. Me and my roommates in 240 Mountain View, shout out to you guys, we've been going on kind of a Quentin Tarantino binge fest as of late. Yeah, we've just started out with Kill Bill. And even though we're skipping a few, definitely, we're going to go straight into watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood tonight with everyone. And a lot of them haven't seen it. So what do you guys want to say to anyone who hasn't seen it yet that are about to see it? So just so they kind of get a premise of what to expect.
Well, first, before that, I just want to say, what other Tarantino movies are you guys watching? Because
we're definitely going to watch Pulp Fiction at some
gotta
point.
watch
Inglourious Bastards.
you gotta watch Django.
Django, of
You gotta
course,
watch. Oh God, Reservoir Dogs. Come on.
That's his first film, I believe, right?
No, it was.
His
I
second?
think it's Pulp Fiction and then Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir
sure.
Dogs,
Pulp Fiction
one
is-
of
I
my
don't think
favorite
Pulp
movies.
Fiction is his
Period
first
of
one.
his. I mean, Django is phenomenal. Django.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Django out there, then you're crazy. You have to go see it right now. But Reservoir Dogs, phenomenal. Love it. You guys gotta watch that immediately. Yeah, I just wanted to add that note on Tarantino.
So back
I love
to
the
Once
man.
Upon a Time in Hollywood. What do
Yes.
you guys have to say a little bit about like a kind of preview of what to expect and also your thoughts on the film?
I'll go very brief on that. I think it's a really well-made film. It took me 2 tries to really, like, get into it. The first time I saw it, I wasn't really sure what to expect, and it's long. It's a long movie.
It is very long.
It's almost
It's not
3
for the faint
hours.
of heart.
Yeah, and it's like it's not one of those fast-paced movies necessarily that you can just kind of like binge through like Avengers Endgame. But
Yeah.
the thing about it that I really like is that it's a movie that doesn't feel like anything you'll see nowadays. It's very.
That is true.
It doesn't really have a plot to say, but the least. But like, that's what makes it so cool because you're just watching like this day in Hollywood and how it unfolds, and it's just such a blast in every way. The production design is phenomenal.
I was about to add that too. I was gonna say that I know a lot of people once they hear that there's no plot.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
it's a bit of a
I have
turn-off.
opinions on that kind of like I'm not crazy about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm gonna be honest.
That's fair.
It's a good movie. Aesthetically, it is very pleasing, but the plot basis hurts me a little bit because, you know, you can do mix mash and like no real basis of plot, but if you're gonna do that, you want to have it connect to something, and I really found no connections between any of the aspects that they shot to, almost. Like you
don't feel like there's anything like a build-up.
No, I felt like there was obvious buildup, but the buildup, it paid off to the tune of a really good Tarantino moment, but really beyond that didn't really make anything too crazy other than that, I want to say.
Yeah,
Because
that's
it was
fair.
just kind of like, you kind of just had DiCaprio's story, and then you had
Brad Pitt.
yeah, and then you had Brad Pitt's story, and then you had God, why am I blanking on
Margot
her name?
Robbie, Sharon Tate.
Yeah, and Sharon Tate's story.
She
And,
wasn't in
like,
it that much, I don't believe.
was.
she
wasn't,
wasn't, but that felt like they were. Yeah, exactly. Like she did nothing in the movie other than to play on the basis of the historical moment. For those of you that don't know, Sharon Tate was an actress back in the day, and she was murdered by a bunch of crazy hippies. And this movie's kind of like playing on that little history moment. Tarantino kind of puts his little fun spin on that, but you know,
It definitely
really
plays on your expectations of what happens.
It plays on an expectation, but really, it's if you got rid of it altogether, it wouldn't amount to much, and none of the characters really kind of go anywhere. I feel. I don't know.
No, I
Like,
disagree
they just-
with that a little bit
Yeah.
because I feel like DiCaprio's character, I feel like definitely he has a beginning, middle, and end for his character.
For what though?
I feel like he starts off as a very kind of, I want to say like not really that successful. He's very much trying to get into the business, but he just hasn't found himself. And then I believe with his role in the cowboy movie, I'm forgetting the name of it.
I don't even remember, to be honest.
Dang it, I really want to know because Quentin Tarantino is actually making a TV show based on that.
Oh, you mean Bounty Law?
Bounty, yes,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
it.
yes,
Quentin
Bounty
Tarantino
Law.
is making an actual like spin-off series for that, and I'm very
Is
excited
that
for
with
that.
DiCaprio?
I believe so. Yeah.
probably.
Really? That'd be
So anyway,
interesting.
as I was saying, I feel like he definitely has a beginning, middle, and end because he kind of finds himself more and more through his work, and he becomes more and more successful over time. And then at the very end, I don't want actually I shouldn't spoil it, but it has a very nice, pleasant end to his character that I think is built up very nicely.
I mean, I can agree with he has the arc, but I just felt that it was to no end, kind of like it ends, but it doesn't really end with anything different than what he started out with, kind of. Like I just felt that, like it was he started out with meh, he went to meh, he went back to meh, but throughout it was a great performance on all parts. I just felt, you know, it was mismatched with just the splicing together of the different aspects of the film, the different character plots that kind of just didn't connect in the end, I felt. Like, it connected in the aspect of they all end up in the same room, basically, but it didn't fully connect in the aspect of influencing anything, I felt. That's just my opinion. It's a good movie. Definitely should go see it. It's nominated, so it must be good. It's Tarantino, so it definitely must be good.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you don't like a long movie, it's definitely not for faint of heart. I would say it's a better use of time than probably something else. I don't know. I was going to say it's between that and The Irishman, because these are the two biggest
should
movies
definitely
of
talk
this
about The
year.
Irishman, too.
Yes, I was using that as a segue into it. But just the point being, those two movies are both probably the biggest movies of this year, and they're both just so long. And if you don't like a long movie, you still really should attempt these, because these are really, really solid movies done by really, really solid directors and really solid actors.
I would like to actually touch on that because while one movie is very long, it's in theaters. Well, it was released in theaters.
Yes.
The other one, while it was released, had a limited release in theaters.
Yeah.
It was released right to Netflix.
Yeah, and that's
Do you
what
feel
makes
like,
it more acceptable.
Yeah. Do you feel like it should be more of the status quo to have these longer 3-hour movies in like a streaming platform instead of an actual movie theater?
See, I don't know about that because really, it's well. First off, with the theater aspect, is kind of you know what? That's actually interesting
It's a
because I
tough concept.
I was just going to say I feel theater is better because you can't get up and leave, but then again, the aspect would be, do you want to pay to sit that long? With Netflix, you kind of have the option to putz around with it. Tons of people that, they pick a show and they're like, oh, I'm just going to watch one episode, and then you watch 5 episodes, and that's the equivalent to basically your 3 hours right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think though the
And you can
real
pause it also.
thing though about long movies, I think is why like Irishman got away on Netflix is that companies don't want to pay as much for like a long movie because they won't make as much money. A theater can't play as many showtimes per day, which will equate to like less money unless it's like Endgame, which is going to make $2 billion. I don't really think they want to risk it as much.
Really, I don't think it's a risk-reward factor. I think it's more or less just the big names kind of just get free range. Like, it was like Netflix was like, oh, look, we got this Scorsese. Here's what I believe happened with The Irishman. The Irishman was a movie Scorsese had, and nobody wanted it because they were like, it's too long, it's too big. And Netflix said, oh, we have the chance to get a movie with Scorsese's name on it. We're really going to push for that. Because that's real. If you look at anything Netflix right now, they're really pushing hard on the better quality content.
Yeah, Netflix original. Because that's their whole selling point for their platform.
Well, because like pre-hand, it was basically like Netflix. All they really had was their funny cartoon shows and there's some occasional dramas.
Actually, got to
their stand-up
meet the director
comedies.
of Bird Box,
Oh, really?
which was
That's
really
sick.
nice. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. How was he or she?
She's very nice. Probably shouldn't be saying this, but one time I was at this. We were at the dining hall during one of the shoots, and she's very much public about being a vegetarian. And I think she was having like a chicken sandwich at one point, and one of the PAs was like, what are you doing? I thought you were a vegetarian. And she's like, oh, no, just this once. It's okay. And I'm like, I'm not sure that's how being a vegetarian works. But for anyone that watches Bird Box, now have that in the back of your mind. The director is not a vegetarian. Don't let anyone tell you different.
I mean, I'm a vegetarian that eats chicken, so I mean, we all have ways of defying the circle. How faded is it? Where's the little?
So anyway, back to the
Irishman.
Netflix. Yeah, back to the Irishman Netflix debate. It's a very definitely complicated topic because definitely not having your film in a theater does take away a lot of the fun aspects of being at a movie theater.
It also takes away the revenue aspects in some aspects, I would feel, just because
Yeah.
I feel a box office minimum is kind of a standard at this point, Like, we're expecting how much are they going to make in the box office?
Yeah.
And really, can you calculate that with, how does even streaming work in terms of box office sale or viewership sale and stuff like that?
It's really just like how many views the video gets, how many people watch it.
Stuff like that, it seems a little bit more tricky. It seems a little bit more constricted in some aspects, supported in other aspects, but it's all good content. That's the basis of the idea. Netflix is definitely making a good shift.
Oh yeah.
Disney's definitely kicking them for their money, and Hulu's kind of just like hanging off to the side, and they're like, we're fine with Disney.
We should also get a little bit into some of the upcoming Disney Plus shows. But before we go on, I want to get a little bit of your thoughts, David. How do you feel a 3-hour movie on Netflix compares to a 3-hour movie in the theater? Would you prefer watching it on Netflix, or would you prefer watching it in a movie theater?
I would go theater all the way.
Really?
For The Irishman, I wanted to see it in a theater for its limited release. I did not get a chance to.
I saw that in the theater, actually. I did. I remember I was like, I kind of have to see this movie in theaters, because I can agree with you, David. You have to see a movie in theaters. Just aesthetically, it feels so much better. Just have the big screen, the seating. It's just, because you can't get the same experience at home or on your laptop or whatever.
I mean, for something like Endgame, I think the theater is necessary because it's such a big screen experience. But for The Irishman, I actually do have to say, after watching it at home, I am glad I did see it at home because I actually couldn't watch it all in one sitting. I had to stop.
No,
Same here,
Irishman is very fair for that.
Because I feel like there's a bathroom break that I need to take, and I'm like back, and like 5 characters
Exactly.
are like
I
been
just
off. Then I'm like, wait, what did I miss? I can't rewind. But here on Netflix, I can just pause it and then watch another time. Or if I'm just like I'm busy and I need to pause like halfway through, I can just continue watching when I'm back from work or whatever.
That's
Yeah.
definitely true. This is a movie that you definitely need to pause for, because I definitely found myself with the bathroom break dilemma. And, I usually try and calculate that with, like, oh, is there not really any interesting dialogue happening? Is it just nonsense talking right now? Okay, I'm going to leave. But also at the same time, for me personally, it's like I feel pausing it and then resuming it at a much later time ruins it a little bit for me. Like, if I pause it, get up, do whatever, and come back, that's fine. But I don't love sitting down, committing to it, and then getting up and then like the next day finishing it, because then it kind of feels more like a show kind of
I don't
thing.
believe
It doesn't
in,
feel like a movie fully.
Yeah, I don't believe in waiting an entire day, but like for me, I just kind of waited like another hour and just kind of took a break and like ate some food because I was just like I can't.
I mean,
really
just eat while
sit.
you're watching it, guy.
Yeah, but then I can't pay attention to the dialogue.
So,
It's a long movie. It was.
Yeah. It is a very long movie.
I'm gonna be honest. It was a really good movie. I felt definitely. Well, first off, definitely if it wasn't Scorsese, it wouldn't be that long period. Nobody would have approved that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel also watching it, I felt it could have been, they could have knocked off maybe like a half hour, maybe an hour off of it, just with the whole opening stuff, because with the movie, you get, in the beginning, you get a lot of stuff going on, a lot of really good story with, Robert De Niro and his little backstory, whatever. But really, that doesn't contribute a whole lot to future elements of the film. You meet a lot of characters that kind of are just there, part of his life. And I understand why they do that, because it's a true story movie. If you don't know, Google it. I don't know the full story on the trueness of it, but it's based off some kind of true story, I believe. And with a true story movie, you really need to focus on characters, even if they don't matter. It happened. You kind of just have to throw it in. So I don't blame him too much for that. But
So, before we move on from The Irishman, I would like to also talk a little bit more about my friends at 240. Again, we did try to watch The Irishman, and unfortunately,
try, quote unquote.
yeah, because it was kind of hard to focus with like a lot of people talking. That is one of the things you do miss when you're
talking
in a
will
movie.
kill it.
Yeah, when you're in a theater, because when you're watching it with a group of people and it's that long of a movie, then sometimes people will
The dialogue will go right
they're
over
at
your head
home-
if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, when they're at home, they feel more at liberty to talk and make noise. It's hard to
Exactly.
concentrate. But in a movie theater, you have more of that atmosphere where everyone's focused on the movie way more. And before we move on from the Irishman, because I would like to talk about more films, Joker. To be a little more precise, I would like to get into. I also would like to talk about a little bit about what The Irishman is about.
Yes.
Now, because we have been talking a lot about The Irishman. We haven't been talking about what it's about.
Have we talked a lot about The Irishman? I thought we talked more Netflix than The Irishman.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, but a little
What's
bit
the difference?
specifically that I feel.
No, just kidding.
I do feel a little bit about what makes this a little different from Scorsese's previous films. Is it definitely focuses a lot more. I don't want to give any spoilers, of course, but I would like to talk a little bit about how it does touch on the consequence of our choices. Because previous films, I feel like they kind of cut off before we really get to get to the later years of this person's lives. Irishman, what you really have to know is this one person, and it's focusing on a very large portion of his life. And we're not only just seeing those choices and how they affect the present, but we also see how it affects his old age and the consequences, again, of his choices. I don't know if you guys...
That was really good stuff.
Yeah.
They say this. A lot of critics are actually saying that this is perhaps one of his better films. Do I believe that? I don't know, but that is the general idea with this film. David, I see you shaking your head. What would you say is his bestest of films, per se? Because I personally know what I really liked the best. I know most people
I think
wouldn't
I'll
agree
take
with
Wolf
it.
of Wall Street.
I was just going to
We
say
have
that.
a poster
Most
of the
people,
Wolf of Wall Street in our room,
that
too.
is honestly one of my favorite, one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
It's a really good movie.
It's first off, you wouldn't think it is, but it's hysterical, first off. And second off, a lot of people say, oh, this is kind of a trashy movie. This is definitely not one of his best movies. I would disagree. I would say that's one of his most entertaining of films. You know, if you're an aesthetic person, you're probably going to be like, oh, Raging Bull, or oh, but
Exactly in that way, in that tone of voice.
yeah, in that tone of voice. I mean, it is high up. I think it's like top 10 of all movies of all time, something like that. But
See, I was introduced to Scorsese through when I was little. I saw Hugo.
Oh, Hugo's a
yeah.
good movie too.
I saw that I was taking a film class a couple of years ago, and we watched that as an example of really good sound usage, which, yeah, I don't know, there was just like a lot of like gear turning,
guess,
a lot of
there's a lot of train noises.
I don't know.
That.
Phenomenal film though. That's for kids also. It's really good.
Yeah.
So he really tells the story.
I
the
do
history
appreciate kids' films that go the extra mile to actually be films that anyone could enjoy.
I completely
which is definitely
agree.
the case with Hugo.
Definitely. And he
So-
uses the history with. He uses the history of it with film. You know, he touches upon real silent era films, some of Méliès, as it's
Méliès,
pronounced,
yeah.
some of his films. You know, A Trip to the Moon. Everybody knows A Trip to the Moon. If you're a film major of sorts, you know what it is.
It's not a very good film.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was mildly I mean, it's, you know, like it's a 10-minute little silent film. Of course, it's not going to be anything vast, but you know, it for what it is, it's cute.
Yeah,
I like it.
I mean,
Google it on
already-
YouTube.
yeah.
Google A Trip to the Moon on YouTube and watch it. See if you think it's boring or if it's kind of a little cutie, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, while we're on the idea of family movies that are like made for kids, I think another one that's another Oscar nomination, Little Women, is definitely worth
I
checking
have
out.
not seen
I
that,
have not
and
seen
I've heard a
Little
lot
Women
of
either.
great things
It's
about it. I
really
really
good.
should.
It looked really good from what the trailer was. It looked quite humorous and amusing. You saw it.
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
I think it's a really well-made film. Greta Gerwig is just great. After
Yeah,
Lady
what
Bird,
else has she?
Lady Bird.
Lady, yeah, that was what.
Oh
yeah,
yes,
that's what-
Lady Bird. Yes.
If you think Little Women's like a very kiddie movie or something that
No.
like only girls would, I think that's honestly it's such
I
a
wouldn't
good
think
movie.
that from just the trailer of it. I wouldn't think it's
It's
a
just
kids
wonderful.
movie.
That's
Yeah,
the
one
word
of my
I
favorite
use.
actors right now is in it. Timothy Chalamet.
He's great.
Yeah, is he good in it?
He's good. Yeah. Also,
Wait.
Saoirse Ronan.
I know Meryl Streep is in it, and she's
Yeah.
always
A lot of phenomenal
And
casting in that
Florence
movie.
Pugh. She's like she's gonna be in Black Widow. So if you want to see Black Widow, that was
Yeah, it's
great.
Black Widow.
Also,
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Marriage Story.
That's a terrific movie
Marriage Story's
too.
great. Yeah.
Yeah,
that
we
was
should
another
get into that too. But we have been dancing around it for a while now, and we're almost running out of time.
Oh, yeah.
Joker.
Of course.
Let's talk a little bit about Joker.
Let's dance
So
around
this
it.
is Todd Phillips.
Joker. Nobody cares about Joker. Just keep going.
I think it's the highest-grossing R-rated movie of all time.
It is. Yeah. Let's talk about that controversy.
that's great.
So, Todd Phillips.
No, it's just
whole movie.
controversial just because it's you know,
Oh.
it's dark and violent and
Is this movie
nonsense.
creating Jokers in real life?
I've seen worse.
Oh, really? People are debating that?
People
Yeah,
were
well,
mad
there
at
was
this
those
movie,
riots that happened at the theaters when it opened, and there was a lot of nonsense about.
I didn't remember hearing about any of this.
There was some reports when the film first came out that there were some sort of riots going on around the premieres of these movies for people that were perhaps, you know, you could call them like an anarchist or something, big deal, scary kind of people. But, you know, really it's nothing. It's all just kind of hype for this movie. And really the movie, it's good. It's a little bit meh, like, because it, you know, it's argued that it, for those that don't know also, it's a film that's kind of, that's funny, it was just showing me a picture of it. What was I just saying?
Joker protest.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, it's a film that some people are arguing promotes bad behavior and mental illness and
Which is
supports
also,
it and stuff like that, which is a message. But
Which is also something I feel like Quentin Tarantino gets a lot. He also has a
Yeah.
famous interview where the interviewer was kind of accusing that of him of like his films promoting and like showcasing excessive violence. If that personally, this is a very difficult topic to go into in such a short amount of time.
how much
Let's
time do we
finish it
have?
up. Let's just talk about the rest.
Yeah, we have 11 minutes.
We'll just
Don't we?
start.
Oh, never mind. I read that wrong.
20 or 11?
So what I do believe is
2011.
kind of a tough subject here is definitely how these movies can potentially bring out these violent thoughts. this is definitely a subject that no matter how much time we have, I don't feel like we're
Never.
the people.
No.
Yeah, I don't think we'll
we're
ever
not
do
the
justice
We're not
for
the
it.
people that can really go into depth on the greater picture of it, but I think we can do some kind of ideal of just general perspective on what it is.
Yeah, personally,
currently.
I feel like it really doesn't. And if someone does blame the seeing this film on like their actions, if they say that their actions were inspired by this film, I feel like those are actions that would have been carried out no matter if they saw the film or not, because those
Yeah.
thoughts were already in their head.
Exactly. I mean, it's a common thing with like video games influencing violence.
Yeah, that's what I was
yeah,
going to get into.
It
Yeah.
doesn't. It's like if the person wants to hold a gun, I mean, like they're gonna do it anyway. It's like it's really. I don't think something influences them unless like they have social, like a personal conflict that will cause it. But I don't think that many.
I would say people are perspectivizing this film as an influence for these things. I don't really see it too much as that. I see it more as just bringing it up as what it is. You know, when people see something like this, they want to just impulsively create a statement and a face about it, kind of thing. Like, it's not really, oh, I'm a horrible sadistic person. It's, oh, this movie's promoting that. Oh, I'm going to emphasize it as just because I'm a person that wants to emphasize it and make a big deal about it. You know, it's, I don't personally believe anybody's super serious about this movie, personally, from what I can generally see. I mean, some people are committed to the work of it, but, you know, I feel also people are committed to just doing a big joke out of something like this. Not
So
funny,
you guys want to get into a little bit about the film itself?
Yeah.
Personally, I believe I've seen this film twice.
Yeah, me too.
And
3 times now.
I think
only saw it
3
once.
times.
I wish I seen it more. I only saw
Yeah,
it.
I feel like
you
it's
guys watch way
I feel like
too
it gets. I feel like it kind of does get a little bit better at repeated viewings, at least for me. I noticed a little bit more of the little hints about what's to come, and I do think it's definitely. Again, Todd Phillips. He visually. He was pretty good in The Hangover, but here he knocks it out of the park. This is definitely different from anything he's done in the past, and it's definitely, I want to say, again, obviously it's something new, but it's also has something to say, which you don't really see a lot about superhero movies in general, really. I think the only kind of film that really is like at this level, or at least attempts to be at this level, is something like Logan.
Logan,
which is
right?
it's something
Oh,
very
yeah, Logan
solemn
was
that has something
very
really to
dark.
say behind it. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I think the film is just really well made. I don't think going back to again, I think to like the warnings thing and like whether people actually turn into jokers. The movie I think is actually more of a warning to people not to do it and like shows just what it takes to make a person go like that. And I think it's trying to tell us not to do it. And I think it does it brilliantly. Joaquin Phoenix gives a performance of a lifetime.
yes.
He's
One of my favorite actors.
He's
really.
definitely
yeah.
going to win Best Actor. I'm going to
for
just say
sure.
that right now. Best Actor, if it's not him, I would be utterly amazed.
I would be very shocked. But
I would be.
yeah, I mean, like, I think it just, as Sebastian said, it has something to say, and what does surprise me a bit is that critics overall were a bit skeptical about the film, and I
can
don't
see
know
that.
why, because critics complain about comic book movies such as Endgame for being too ridiculous and over the top, but Joker is real, and that's why I don't understand
Yeah, it's
it.
very much engraved in reality for
Yeah.
me.
I'd
It's-
like to touch on the idea that this really isn't Joker movie. I just want to say that. This isn't, oh, look, it's the Joker from Batman. That's not what this is. This is a movie that was about, a sadistic crazy man who was running around doing bad stuff. And they were just like, okay, what's a hook that we can throw on this that get people to watch it? Oh, give it a recognizable name, give it a title, like, oh, it's a Batman connection. This has nothing to do with anything Batman. Let's just be honest with that.
Yeah, I can
'Cause, like,
understand
it's
that.
not gonna-
It does
I don't
touch a
believe
little
it's
bit
gonna
about what
connect-
inspires Batman,
I think that's great.
which I really, really like that part of it. But honestly, that could be taken out of the film, and it would make no difference.
Again, that's really what it is. It's not a Batman movie. It's a regular movie that they said to themselves, what can we do to make this more of a hit? Because you could really just say this is a movie about a crazy guy that dresses as a clown with no connection whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean,
Really, that's what it is. It's mostly just for box office publicity stunts, and same with the Anarchist thing. If this wasn't Batman Joker related, I don't think any of this big publicity would be blown up for it. I think it would just be, oh, it's a movie that, it has these aspects to it, but it's really nothing too out of the realm, because Joker's really the name is really what's giving it the recognition that it has currently.
Yeah, I
And
disagree.
Joaquin
Honestly,
Phoenix.
I feel like this film, regardless of if it had Joker on the title, if it was just about this man going crazy, I would still personally.
I completely agree.
I probably wouldn't have seen it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that I would definitely have wanted to see after hearing so much
no,
about
no.
it, because it definitely seems like definitely something that right now, this climate right now, I think this is the kind of film that we definitely needed to see.
Oh no, I'm not saying it's a bad movie at all. I'm saying that right now it's blown up in publicity wise, and I think without the Joker reference, it would have been very much more minimal. There wouldn't have been, the as previously stated, the riot kind of things at the theaters, maybe a little bit of that, but really nothing huge. I feel the Joker's name is really what's bringing most people out for it, but no, it definitely is a phenomenal film. It definitely would get some recognition. How much more outside of Joker name, I don't know that personally, though.
Yeah, I have to say, surprisingly, believe it or not, Parasite and Joker share a lot of common threads, and I think it just kind of shows what audience goes for, because, like, I do think he has, Riley has a point here about Joker. The character is really what brings people in, and
It's
the
the title.
DC name and comic book movie genre blowing up now.
It's not even anything superhero related.
It's not.
It's just a guy.
Yeah.
Although, really, Batman, if you want to talk Batman's always a little iffy with movie basis because no real thing connects to anything really else because there's like 5 different versions that don't have anything to do with anybody. But that's another story.
Yeah.
It's still
So, before we move on to a different topic, I'd say just one thing that you think the movie does exceptionally well, and one thing you wish it did a little bit different. For me, it's kind of a split between, I'm sure for you guys, the soundtrack and the cinematography. For me, those are 2 great elements. And while Joaquin Phoenix's performance is terrific, I feel like those are what really sets this movie apart from other films. I think that dance scene, honestly, it's not just Joaquin Phoenix's performance, but it's the way the camera flows throughout the room,
definitely-
and the way the music sweeps, and it gives this kind of like melancholic, like feel to it that it just forces you to feel how the main character is feeling. So for me, those are the 2. I know it's kind of a cheat, but I'd say it's definitely a tie between those 2. I can't like think of one without the other for me. The thing I wish it did a little bit different. Perhaps the Bruce Wayne tie-in was a little bit forced.
It was.
Honestly, I could see an argument for why it isn't, because, Joker's a very big part
You have
of
to
Bruce
connect
Wayne's
it to the Joker full
Yeah.
circle if you're going to do it.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like maybe on my second viewing, it felt a little bit tacked on. Like I was getting very invested in this character, and I feel like once we get the Bruce Wayne in there, I feel like his father was handled pretty nicely. But I feel like Bruce Wayne himself, he was kind of tacked in there, and I feel like it wasn't very needed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But maybe if I saw it again, I'd maybe appreciate it a little bit more. But again, that's definitely something I'm never going to really agree on. So for a summary of Joker, I'd say cinematography, soundtrack, definitely the highlights of the film. Joaquin Phoenix's performance, definitely I'd say is a close second, but I think
Close
I'm going to put
second. Who would you say is first?
because again, I just feel like the soundtrack and the cinematography just really elevate this to a whole new level.
It really does.
So, what do you guys feel?
For me personally, I think the 2 things in Joker that really make it worth watching are Joaquin's performance, which is, I think, my favorite performance of the decade, honestly, from 2010s. I think he's just great. And then I think Todd Phillips' direction, which I'm not going to spoil because there are some things in the movie that he does to Joker's character that makes him so great. Just the laugh alone is what really makes him great, and I think those 2 things are are the best parts of the film and what really make it special.
He also wrote this film too.
He did write this film, yeah. I'm not exactly sure though where the screenwriting and the directing differ.
Yeah, you never really know what exactly is like added from the screenplay
Exactly.
or taken away from the screenplay and the final product.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I'd say the one thing that I wish it did a little differently is that I think the film does get a little bit too inspired by Scorsese's other films like King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. If it just separated itself a little bit more, I think it would have a little bit better reception, and maybe like I might like it even more than I do. But even still, I think it's like definitely worthy of a Best Picture nomination.
Oh, I mean, I don't have too much to add to the film, but I definitely would agree that, well, first, it deserves its nomination. It's definitely not going to win, as previously stated, with 1917. A lot of really solid stuff nominated for this year. For the Joker movie, I don't really think I have anything more to add on that. I think you guys pretty much summed up my general perspective on this movie. The cinematography is fantastic. The score is really good. Joaquin Phoenix, everything he does,
everything.
phenomenal.
I don't think I've ever seen a bad performance from him.
The Master is a truly just insane movie. If you haven't seen, have you seen The Master?
Unfortunately, no.
Joaquin Phoenix movie. Look it up. It's definitely a must-see film. It's very, similar with its sadistic-ish nature. Probably less profound, probably more subtle, but, everything that man does is phenomenal work. Truly underrated in some aspects, more so in others.
So now we're
Awesome.
leading to the end of our time here. I think one more movie that I'd love to talk about is Marriage Story, which you
Yes.
talked about a little bit
We're
before,
gonna talk.
starring Kylo Ren and Scarlett Johansson.
Black Widow.
Kylo Ren and Black Widow.
Adam Driver. At first, I just want to say Adam Driver, Kylo Ren, way outside of Star Wars, totally underrated as a really, really solid actor. If he didn't have Star Wars to him, nobody would know who he is. Yeah. I've seen a few
I
of
believe
his...
he's been in a few episodes of a TV show. I don't know exactly
he's done,
what show.
I've seen a few of his works prior to Star Wars. Most of them are like kind of B movies that nobody really knows. Or
it doesn't
cares
really give
about.
him a chance to
But,
show his acting.
I saw a couple of his works just like when Star Wars was coming out. I was like, oh, who's this guy? What kind of stuff's he done?
Yeah.
And I saw some of his stuff. I can't name anything off the top of my head, but any of his dramatic works outside of Star Wars is really solid stuff. He's just a really good actor. It's also a tricky kind of look and aesthetic to him, but he plays it very well and just great.
So, definitely going off of that, I feel like Adam Driver, this movie really gave him the because Star Wars. We'll get into that. That's a whole different subject.
That's his recognition.
I feel like it
basis.
doesn't really give him the opportunity to show his real talent.
Well, yes.
And this film, it gives him this could only have been pulled
very
off
well.
by a terrific actor.
Very true.
And this very much gives him that opportunity. I remember seeing, I think the first time I thought, okay, this is genuinely a person I will be watching closely, not stalking, I mean like watching for his future work, is when I saw his TED Talk, and it was about him talking about his time in the Army. And this is not just a great actor, this is a great person.
I didn't know there was
he was in
TED Talk.
he was
I'm
in
gonna
the
have
Army.
to check this out.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew he was in the Army. I saw that on his SNL special, which is actually pretty amusing.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So, we're talking about the actors right now with Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, but what about, the actual script itself and how it really...
I think it's going to win Best Screenplay out of all the Oscar noms. I feel that's the one that's going to get that, probably.
I could definitely... you have anything to add, David?
About Marriage Story, I think it's just a terrific film. Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver, both terrific. The writing, I think, is also what makes the film so great because it's a movie, just in case nobody here knows what Marriage Story is about. It's on Netflix. It's definitely worth watching, but it's about a couple who's getting a divorce, and it's about how it affects their son, their young son. And I think the writing really, and the direction too, is just phenomenal in showing how a divorce isn't just one person's good, one person's bad. The wife and the husband are both, they both have problems, and they're both great people too, which is why it's so heartbreaking to watch. And I think that's what makes it such a worthy film. Just brilliant. Check it out.
Yeah. As far as the screenplay goes, we'll talk a little bit about the direction too.
Yeah.
Who also wrote and directed it both. I don't know if I'm going to say his name right, but Noah Baumbach? Yeah, unfortunately I might be butchering the name, but I'm a big fan of him, although I don't exactly know how to pronounce his last name. We'll just call him Noah for now. He's a terrific writer. He's done some of my favorite films, The Life Aquatic, and Fantastic Mr. Fox, which we'll probably go through in another time, another show about our favorite. That's definitely going to be one of my recommendations. And also the Meyerowitz stories.
Oh, yeah,
I've always
Adam Driver's
forgotten
in
how
that,
to.
too.
Yeah, that's a terrific film. It's very much the same as this one, where the dialogue feels so natural that it doesn't feel like they're like reading off a screenplay. It definitely feels like you're just watching two people talking. And, like, they're not, like, memorizing lines. They're just simply two people talking in a room. Nothing very special about it. It's just you're watching these two people go through their differences. And it's not just like watching actors. You're watching pretty much... I could really see myself in these characters.
I completely agree.
Very.
I actually have a fun fact about Noah. One film I'm really keeping my eye on for in 2022 is the new Barbie movie. Surprisingly, believe it or not, this is the weirdest cast and crew I've ever heard in my life. So
I'm
we're gonna
intrigued.
have Academy Award winner Margot Robbie as Barbie, but that's not what really gets me
Barbie
intrigued.
doll?
Yeah, Barbie, but like the people behind it, Noah is going to be co-writing the screenplay with Greta Gerwig, who did Little Women and Lady Bird, both of which were nominated for Best Picture. So you got two Academy Award winning people writing and directing it, and then you have Margot Robbie, who's an Academy Award winner, acting in it. And that's just bonkers. I don't even know how it's going to be good, but like...
I mean, these seem like a great cast and some great people working on it.
Yeah,
is it like a children's film?
I don't know. I like have no. I had no
animated?
interest before I heard about this, but like now that I'm hearing these people are in it, I'm just like, what could this is going to be like winning some Oscars? Like,
Well, 2022, that's a whiles away, so we'll definitely look into that. But back on to Marriage Story, just, I think, also, really, first off, we have discussed it, the film is in its basis on the screenwriting. That's the main basis of the film. And I feel every other aspect of it, though simplistic and not a whole lot into it, I feel, the cinematography work, all that little detail.
I feel like
it's
it
minimal.
wasn't too big of a highlight, but
It was minimal. It wasn't a highlight, but I just felt overall the film aesthetically was very pleasing to watch.
completely agree.
And, and again, I feel Scarlett Johansson, she's nominated, I would assume, for Best Female Actress. I don't know if she would win that next to somebody in Little Women, but, I feel that's the only other aspect that would be questionable with this film. Definitely Best Screenplay, definitely that going for it.
So to finally tie this all together, let's put it all out there on the table. Which film do you guys think is going to be the big winner? Who's going to win the most awards at the Oscars? Or should, in your opinion, win the most awards at the Oscars?
all right, Riley, you can start.
That's tricky because I'm kind of looking at bases in different aspects. Like, I'm looking at it as Best Film 1917, Best Male Actor would be Joker, Best Male Secondary Actor would be... Best Male Supporting Actor would probably be Brad Pitt, and then, Best Female Actor, maybe Scarlett Johansson. Best Secondary Female Actor would probably be something from Little Women, and so on and so forth. Really, it's between Irishman, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Joker, really, in 1917. Those four really are just going to win everything. Everything else, I feel, is kind of just going to get pushed into maybe one per thing. Some of them, I looked at some of the nominees, like Jojo Rabbit. He's not going to win anything. Ferrari v. Ford is not going to win anything.
I don't think that one will win anything either.
Neither of
Best
those-
editing, but I don't really know what else.
Like, everything looks semi-decent. Those two are definitely not going to win anything. Love both of those. Good movies. Watch Ford v. Ferrari and Jojo Rabbit, but I don't believe they're going to win anything. Everybody else is going to do great.
Yeah.
David, do you have anything?
Yeah,
you think
just
should
to
win?
quickly wrap up on my thoughts. I think Parasite will actually win. some
Oh,
really
yes,
big awards.
Parasite. How did I
Parasite,
forget Parasite.
I think will end up winning Best Picture. That's my call right now. I don't know if it will. If it doesn't, then it's going to 1917, who I think will win the most awards. It seems like it's already winning all the editing stuff. It seems like it's going to win Best Director and all that stuff.
We
But,
don't get enough foreign films here in the U.S. And anytime we get a foreign film here in the U.S., it has to be something truly substantial to get U.S. theatrical recognition.
Yeah.
And that should just say within itself how good it should be.
So, finally, to wrap up my thoughts, I'm thinking Knives Out, Marriage Story, and probably The Irishman. Probably my three favorites. I hope
awesome,
they
yeah.
win as much as possible, but again, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
It's anyone's game. So that pretty much wraps us up all
Yeah,
here.
we're out of time.
I'm Sebastian. This is David. This is Riley.
I'll see you all next week at 8 p.m.
On Tuesday.
Yeah, on Tuesday.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Peace.